الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا وحبيبنا وطيب قلوبنا وشفي ذنوبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. دكتور تعال ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهب لنا من أمرنا رشدا. So this is very psychological, and actually the ones the previous lessons, they were also analyzing human cognition. I thought like you are following cognitive psychology, right? This is exactly for you. You read only Imam Ghazali. That's not good. You have to expand your horizons to Ibn Khaldun also. Yes. So this is في علوم البشر وعلوم الملائكة, knowledge of human beings and knowledge of the angels. So until now he talked about al-fikr. So what's thinking? What's ideation? What's thinking? And he talked about different types of thinking. Al-aql al-tajribi. And then what was the second one? The first one, temyizi. Second one, tajribi. Third one, nazari. Okay, what's al-aql al-temyizi? Yeah, differentiating the objects. What's al-aql al-tajribi? Okay, what we gain through our experience, right? Especially in social life. And then what's aql nazari? Aql nazari? Alaykum salam. Ta'al. Yeah, theoretical thinking about abstract things, okay? So now he's going to talk about ulum al-bashar, different types of human knowledge, and also ulum al-malaika, different types of angelic knowledge, like knowledge of angels and knowledge of human beings. إنا نشهد في أنفسنا بالوجدان الصحيح وجود ثلاثة عوالم. This very interesting statement. We find in ourselves بالوجدان الصحيح. يعني how should I say, genuine consciousness. Genuine consciousness. يعني not rational thinking.
Intuition. وجدان intuition or
يعني you can say intuition also. You can say intuition. You can say inner awareness. Inner consciousness. Actually, Vijdan comes from Vejada. Like we find, like rationally, we find it in ourselves, without any proof. So there is Vijdan and there is Wujud. Wujud, existence. Vijdan, awareness about existence. Awareness about existence, that's Vijdan. So, inna nashhadu fi anfusina, we find in ourselves bil-wijdan al-sahih, by using al-wijdan al-sahih, that wujud thalathat awalim, there are three worlds that exist, okay? So this interesting, the word wijdan and the word wujud, these are very interesting. So we discover wujud by wijdan. Allah gave us wujud and Allah gave us wijdan. So by using wijdan, we develop awareness about our wujud, that we exist. If Allah gave us only wujud, no wijdan, what would happen? We wouldn't be aware about our own existence. So Allah gave us existence and also awareness about our existence, but this awareness is not through rational thinking. It's just natural inner awareness that we know we exist. Actually, this is a big problem in philosophy. How do we know that we exist? What's the proof that you exist? What's your proof that you exist?
The proof of one's existence is badahi, is self-evident.
Yeah, so you're saying no proof.
No, yeah.
No proof.
Because whatever proof I will come up with is like will entail a circular argument. Because in order to issue a proof, I have to issue a proof of existence. I have to be existent.
Yes. For instance, Descartes says, "I think, therefore I am."
And that's a contradiction.
So he wants to prove existence of I, but he begins with I. So I is supposed to come at the end as a conclusion, but he's using I as a premise to prove the existence of I. So how can you use your conclusion in the premise? So this is a logical fallacy, not a strong argument, because you cannot use your conclusion as part of your premise. It should come at the end. So philosophers try to develop rational evidence to prove human existence. For instance, what's the proof of Ibn Sina about our existence? Alaykum salam. What does he try to prove human existence? Anybody? Anybody? You heard about flying man?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's flying man?
Imagine you are being hanged in a room and you are hanged with not even a rope, just hanged in the middle of the air. Will you be aware of the movement or will you have a spatial awareness or the awareness of the space and time around you? No.
Yeah. So like you are hanged in the middle of the room and no sensual perception. Like your eyes closed, no noise, no smell, no touch. Are you still aware of your existence? Yes. So he uses this as a proof of our existence. Our existence is not based on our sense perception. But again, this is a very weak argument, to prove our existence. So this is one of the big problems, to rationally, logically prove our existence. So that's why he's saying bil wijdan as-sahih. Bil wijdan as-sahih, the genuine, healthy self-awareness, intuition. It's self-evident. It's badihi. What's badihi? What's badihi? Yeah, self-evident. Something which is self-evident, which does not need any proof. It's called badihi. They are also called evveliyat. Evveliyat, like first principles. First principles. Okay. Okay. And we find this in anfusina. And so there are three worlds. أولها عالم الحس. The world to which we access through our sense perceptions. Okay? There is a world outside of us. We are networked to it by our sense perception. ونعتبره بمدارك الحس. So we know it through knowledge, through empirical knowledge. Knowledge we gain through sense perception. الذي شاركنا فيه الحيوانات بالإدراك. So we share sense perception with animals. And we have access to this world through our sense perception. We are networked to عالم الحس through sense perception. ونعتبر الفكر الذي اختص به البشر. So we commonly share sense perception with the animals, but human beings, they have special fikr. This is what distinguishes them. So we are not distinguished from animals by his, but we are distinguished from them by al-fikr. Okay? فنعلم عنه وجود النفس الإنسانية, and we also know that human beings exist. Exist. How do you know this? علما ضروريا. This also, how should I say? necessary knowledge again doesn't need proof, cannot be proven through rational argumentation. That's the meaning of ilm daruri. Ilm daruri, but this is, he said ilm daruri. Above you said vijdan. So there is vijdan and then ilm. Ilm daruri. These are all different types of knowledge. Yani al-ilm al-vijdani and then al-ilm al-daruri. Al-ilm al-daruri, like our knowledge about our existence. This is al-ilm al-daruri. Yani, that's necessary or self-evident knowledge which does not need any proof. This axiomatic. بما بين جنبينا من مداركها العلمية التي هي فوق مدارك الحس. يعني so we know our own existence through our capabilities of knowledge, and these capabilities, these faculties are above capabilities or faculties of sense perception. So we have capabilities or faculties of sense perception, and above that we have faculties or capabilities of knowledge. And as human beings, we know our human existence through using these capabilities of knowledge, faculties of knowledge. You see, they turn something self-evident for ordinary people into an academic problem, into a philosophical problem. And when ordinary people hear this, look at these people, they are crazy, look at what they are discussing. We are discussing whether we exist or not and how we know that we exist, how you prove it, are we different from animals, and in what way. فنراه عالما آخر فوق عالم الحس. So we see human beings as another world, above al-mahsusat, above the world which is perceived or accessed through sense perception. So like the physical world, we have access to it through sense perception. But human world, we need to use our knowledge, capabilities to have access to human world. You cannot know human world simply by using sense perception. This is فوق عالم الحس. So this is like from this you can conclude that you can use empirical methods in natural sciences. But when it comes to social sciences, which is knowledge about human beings, sense perception or empirical methods are not enough. Because human beings are distinguished from the physical world by their knowledge, مدارك العلمية. ثم نستدل على عالم ثالث فوقنا. Then we use istidlal. This another type of knowledge. What's istidlal? Demonstration, like logical demonstration. So there is al-wijdan al-sahih, and there is al-ilm al-daruri, and there is al-istidlal. Al-istidlal through demonstration, like you bring proofs. You use proofs to prove that there is a third world above us. Because we use istidlal, it is not as certain as the existence of the natural world and the existence of human beings. Because the existence of the natural world and existence of the human world, this is no argument about it. But when it comes to the world above human beings, because it's based on al-istidlal, demonstration or logical proofs, not everybody agrees about its existence. And this is فوقنا بما نجد فينا من آثاره. So what kind of istidlal we use, to prove that there is this third level of existence? Because we see its impact on us. We see its influence on us. So like that, there's a cable and there is electricity in it. How do you know there is electricity? Like you plug it to a bulb, then there is lightning. Then you conclude, wow, there is electricity in this cable, although you don't see it. So through its impact, you conclude that it exists. So this is من الأثر إلى المؤثر. When we see the athar, the outcome, the impact, we conclude there is a cause. There is a mu'athir, there is an agency behind it. So the same way for the world which we call metaphysical, but you see he's not using the ancient Greek physical and metaphysical world distinction. He's using his own. So alam al-hiss, alam al-insan, and then this third world, let's see what he's going to call it. So we know it through the athar التي تلقى في أفئدتنا, and this impact is thrown to our minds, to our hearts. We feel its impact in our minds, in our hearts. كالإرادات والوجهات, like wills. Sometimes we have a will, in our heart. So where did you get this will? Sometimes you have some inclination. This is what you call khawatir, or niyyah, that comes to your heart. Where did you get it? So where did it come to your heart? So these impacts that we feel in our heart, in our mind, they show that there is a world above us. نحو الحركات الفعلية. So والوجهات نحو الحركات الفعلية. So we feel some strong inclination to make a physical movement. So let's say this desire or this stimulus or this motivation that came to your heart to make a move, a movement, a motion, an action. So this shows that there's a world above you from which you get this impact, you get this influence. So this al-khawatir wal-wasawis, like Western psychology or Western sociology, they have two groups. The materialists, they focus only behavior, the observable behavior, which is hissi. And then you have idealists. They say human action is different than physical action. We have to know the intention behind it. Okay? So they focus on intentions. They say human behavior is intentional. But where does the intention come from? They stop at the intention. They cannot go beyond intention. Okay? But Islamic scholars study where do intentions come from? Where do you get the intentions? And what's the process through which an intention emerges in your heart? So we say, like ideas come to heart. These are called al-khawatir. Sometimes they are called wasawis. They always come to your heart. Where do we get these ideas? Sometimes from angel, sometimes from shaitan, sometimes from nafs. So we are well networked. We have networked with shaitan, we are networked with nafs, and we are networked with Allah and angels. So angels send us good khawatir, shaitan sends us bad khawatir, and from our nafs we get stimuli. So all these things, they pour, gush, to our heart like rain. And then you ignore millions of those ideas that come to your heart. You filter. But then sometimes you pick up one and then you start thinking about it. So it ferments, you know, in your mind. Then you turn it into an intention, okay, and then into irade. Then this irade is communicated to your brain, and from your brain to your body to turn into an action. Yeah, that's why I call it, I say action is a joint product of ruh, mind, and body. Like first we have khawatir. Where are khawatir? Where do khawatirs come to? To your heart. Okay? So heart, the spiritual heart. Okay? Then there is a process, a selective process. Like you select one khawatir over others. Okay? So you are a good Muslim. If the khawatir comes like for wrong things, you reject them. And then khawatir comes, okay, go and make salat. Then you go to make salat. Okay? And then khawatir comes, go to nightclub. You say, no, I'm a good Muslim. I don't go to nightclub. You know? See what I mean? The khawatir comes, okay, go and lie. You say, no, it's haram. I'm not going to do it. You know, go and help somebody else. Okay, I'm going to do it. So every day, maybe you get million or millions of khawatir coming to your heart, like rain, you know. But then you selectively filter them, you know. And this filtration also is very important process, you know, like how you develop this filter and how you filter. These are like all requires deep psychological analysis, you know. Sometimes Muslims, like we had a psychology professor, he used to analyze how Muslims filter works even in dream. Even in their dreams, they don't want to do something wrong. See what I mean? Did this happen to you? Like even in your dream, you say, oh, this is haram, I cannot do it, you know, or this is good, I have to do it. So this normative filter, you know, is active, you know, even in the dream. So he was a very interesting professor. You know, one day he came to me, he asked, what are you going to do in the future? He was a sociologist, and by way of joke, I told him, I may become like you, a sociologist. Then Allah made me a sociologist. So, like, you're very careful about what you are saying. I have never ever dreamed, and I was like joking, you know. What's a sociologist here? I ended up doing PhD in sociology. But this man was very interesting, you know. Like he discovered this normative awareness in the Muslims, especially like even in the dreams. Yani, subhanallah. So anyway, okay. So these iradat, these وجهات نحو الحركات الفعلية تلقى في أفئدتنا. They are thrown into our hearts by angels, by shaitan, you know, from different sources, you know. So this is how we know that there is a world above us. From this world, we receive all this al-iradat, al-wijahat, al-ilhamat, al-ru'ya, like all this stuff, you know. فنعلم أن هناك فاعلا يبعثنا عليها من عالم فوق عالمنا. So then we conclude from this inner experience through istidlal that there is a fa'il, there is an agent, you know, there is an actor, يبعثنا عليها. He is pushing us, or he is orienting us towards these actions, you know, and he is min عالم فوق عالمنا, and he is above our human world. So like this, you know, breaking the shell behind the intention and entering there, you know, this is what Muslim scholars do, you know. But those idealists, they come and remain, they stay at the shell of intentions. They cannot go beyond. You know, only Freud, you know, he tried to analyze these ideas that are coming to your heart. But because he did not believe in metaphysics, he used an inner source. He invented, fabricated, he made it up, like this subconsciousness. As if like all this khawatir, wasawis, everything comes from subconsciousness. But where do they come to subconsciousness? From your early childhood experience. See what I mean? And this subconsciousness is a box. Now they make car engines locked. You cannot have access to it. You have to go to the, the car dealer. They are the only ones who can open it up and fix it for you. And according to Freud, this subconsciousness is a boxed engine, just like the Mercedes and Volkswagen engine. You have to go to the dealer, the psychologist, the psychoanalyst. Only he can open it. You have no access to your subconsciousness. He has the keys and access to your subconsciousness, and you have to pay this crook, to open up your subconsciousness and fix it for you. See what I mean? Like smart Jewish business mind. And so many stupid people believe in this, that we have subconsciousness and we have no access, no control over it. We have some unit, in our mind. We have no access to it. We have no control over it. And only this psychologist, if you pay him, he has access to it. He can open it and fix it for you. And he has to suck your money during this process. And so many stupid people believe in this. But for us, we are the only ones who have access to every labyrinth of our soul and heart. And these ideas that come to our hearts, they come from the عالم الأرواح. And he says this, وهو عالم الأرواح والملائكة. So this is the world of أرواح and ملائكة. So in English they use spirit and soul. Doesn't make sense for me. What's the difference between spirit and soul? Then I was digging, like why they use spirit and soul. Then I realized this is a Christian distinction. This distinction in Christian theology. They make a distinction between spirit and soul. And some Muslims, they also internalize this distinction. For me, spirit and soul, these are synonymous, meaning ruh, right? So they use spirit for biological life, and soul like for Jesus or something, like for metaphysical entity. Like a soul is above spirit, kind of. But I think this is a trip. This is a trap. We should not accept such a distinction. Ruh is ruh, okay? Whether you call it soul or spirit, it's the same thing. So sometimes they call nafs spirit, qalb soul, which completely confusing. See what I mean? So better, my advice to you, use original concepts. Don't translate. If you translate to English, things get messed up. Say ruh, aql, nafs, ruh. Let them learn. How we learn so many Greek, Latin words. Let us learn Arabic words too. When I was teaching comparative theories and methods, I taught like Western theories and methods using all these Greek and Latin concepts. Then when it came to Islamic, maratib al-wujud, maratib al-ulum, maratib al-usul, usul al-fiqh, usul al-tafsir, usul al-hadith, they were shocked. They said, but these aren't, where did you bring them from? I said, these are Islamic methods. Why do you want to learn only Western methods? These are Islamic methods. Your grandparents produced this. You don't want to learn them. You only want to learn Marx, Freud, Foucault. Oh, they said, we should learn. Then when I started using all these Arabic concepts, they said, Professor, these are Arabic. I said, so what? The others, they were Latin and Greek. These are Arabic. You learned all these Greek terms. You learned all these Latin terms. Why don't you want to learn Arabic terms? They said, yeah, we should learn. I said, when you use this Arabic term, they will think you are really intellectual and big scholar. So like I taught them the Arabic terms. So like my translation strategy, not to translate key concepts of religion. Like Allah is Allah. Allah is not God. Ruh is ruh, not spirit or soul. I mean, of course, maybe in the introduction to make people understand, you can translate. Because I derive this from the historical legacy of Muslims. So like when Pakistanis became Muslims, did they translate key concepts of Islamic theology and fiqh and hadith and tafsir to Urdu language? No. Same thing with Malay, same thing with Persians, same thing with Turks. They did not translate these concepts. So farz is farz everywhere, sunnah is sunnah everywhere, fiqh is fiqh everywhere, sharia is sharia everywhere, ruh is ruh everywhere, right? Ruh in Urdu, Persian, Malay, Malamar, Turkish, it's ruh. So why do you translate when it comes to English, French, and German? So use ruh. خليهم يتعلم. So that's my strategy, and I recommend you the same. Use original Islamic Arabic concepts, because those concepts, they are charged. They have so many connotations. Better to stay in the safe side. So when you say God, what's God? Immediately this Christian concept of God comes in. And then you have to clarify. No, it's not exactly what I meant. I mean this, etc. Unless like you are in a very cosmopolitan environment, where you have completely like people who are completely alien to Islamic terminology. Better to educate Muslim students and youth to learn the Arabic originals, and they don't mind learning all this Greek and Latin terminology, right? In economics, how many Latin and Greek terms you learn? In psychology, how many Greek and Latin terms you are teaching to your students? Why don't you teach the Arabic ones too? See what I mean? All right. So anyway, so three worlds: عالم الحس, عالم الإنسان, and عالم الأرواح والملائكة. وفيه ذوات مدركة. And in the عالم الأرواح and in عالم الملائكة, there are I'm sorry, there are beings with intelligence. لوجود آثارها فينا. How do you know that in the عالم الأرواح and عالم الملائكة there are beings with intelligence? Because of their impact on us. Because of their impact on us, we can conclude that there are intelligent beings above us. مع ما بيننا وبينهما من المغايرة. Although there is difference between us and them, but we know there are intelligent beings, but they are different than us. This is what we know. وربما يستدل veya يستدل على هذا العالم الأعلى الروحاني وذواته بالرؤيا. So he's saying that one may use dreams as an evidence for the existence of this higher level of existence. وما نجد في النوم ويلقى إلينا فيه من الأمور التي نحن في غفلة عنها في اليقظة. Because in dreams we see a lot of things, and also it's thrown on us like an impact of things, and we don't get these when we are awake. So this is an evidence that there's another world, and we have access to this world in dreams, not when we are awake. يقظة. وتطابق الواقع في الصحيحة منها. And these dreams, they correspond to the reality in which we live, if it's صحيح, يعني الرؤيا الصحيحة. فنعلم أنها حق, and from that we conclude that this is true dream. ومن عالم الحق, and we know that this from a true world. وأما أضغاث الأحلام, but not true dreams. So there is رؤيا and أضغاث أحلام. أضغاث أحلام, these are biological dreams or psychological dreams. الرؤيا الرحمانية, الرؤيا الغير الصحيحة. So أضغاث أحلام, this non-true or inauthentic dreams, فصور خيالية يخزنها الإدراك في الباطن. These are خيالي images stored in our batin, in our memory, in our qalb. So these khayali images which are stored, inside of us, they pop up during this أضغاث أحلام, ويجول فيها بعد الغيبة عن الحس, and they circulate, they move around when your sense perception is turned off. So they pop up when your sense perception is turned off. When you sleep, your sense perception is turned off, and you are disconnected from the alam al-hiss. These images, al-khayaliyah, which are stored up, in your batin, they start moving, and you get adghas ahlam. So they are human dreams. They are not ar-ru'ya ar-rahmaniyah. They are not coming from above. So one type of dream come from above, and they are yulqa ilayk. The other one, because of some psychological or biological impact, these images get mobilized. Yes.
Do you think that he was influenced by Al-Farabi, because Al-Farabi in his book آراء المدينة الفاضلة expresses these ideas in the exact same words, الأحلام, الصور الخيالية, الإدراك, and he says in آراء في أكمل المراتب التي يبلغها الإنسان بالقوة المتخيلة, the perfect state that one can reach with his imaginative faculty.
Yes.
So the exact same.
So Ibn Khaldun inherits al-Falasifa, Ibn Sina, Farabi, Ibn Rushd, Imam Ghazali. Also he inherits al-Fuqaha, he inherits al-Mutakallimun, which Kalam Mezheb he follows. Which Kalam Mezheb he follows? Ash'ari. Which, who is his favorite Mutakallim? Fakhruddin al-Razi. And he summarized one of his books, Muhassal. So he belongs to Ash'ari Mezheb in Kalam. And then in Fiqh, he belongs to Maliki school, and also he's aware of the writings of the Falasifa, and also Sufiyin, because he also wrote a book on Tasawwuf himself. So he inherited everything before him, and he synthesized. So he's aware of the Farabi and all these people.
Interestingly, in Farabi, he also has a chapter on في حاجة البشر إلى الاجتماع والتعاون.
Yes.
So that's the same term as.
That's why he said al-Hukama say that. Al-Hukama say that. That means Farabi, Ibn Sina, Ibn Rushd. This is what they say. See what I mean? So he's acknowledging his resources. He's acknowledging that he inherited legacy of the philosophers, legacy of mutakallimin, legacy of muhaddithin, legacy of mu'arrikhin, like all different types of scholars. Okay. ولا نجد على هذا العالم الروحاني برهانا أوضح من هذا. So we don't find a logical proof for the existence of the world of souls more clear than this argument. So ru'ya is the best argument, to prove that there is alam al-arwah, al-malaika. فنعلمه كذلك على الجملة ولا ندرك له تفصيلا. But dreams only proves us that the alam al-arwah exists in general. We don't know the details. Okay, we don't know the streets. You know, we just know that you know, there is such a city, there is such a world. Like the details and Ruya doesn't provide us. Okay, and also this logical proof just proves its existence, doesn't explain its details. وما يزعمه الحكماء الإلهيون في تفصيل ذواته وترتيبها المسمات عندهم بالعقول فليس شيء من هذا القبيل. شوف يعني he says, you know, that what your philosophers Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, etc. talks about like intelligences, you know, intellects. He says, you know, and their details. So this is not the same. So basically, he's rejecting those theory of intellects. There is, you know, first intellect, second intellect, aql awal, aql sani, aql mudabbir, aql fa'al. This. So he's rejecting those things. Okay. When I read Islamic philosophy, I was like, hey, hard time, you know, trying to understand these uqul, ashara, keda. Then eventually I came, maybe this is nonsense. Then I was released.
Although فخر الدين الرازي in his book مطالب عالية, he has a chapter on في إقامة الدلائل على أن الكواكب والأفلاك أحياء ناطقة. And he says that this concept has burhani and إقناعي evidence.
But this is different than uqul. This is different than نظرية الأقول. Like العقل الأول يعني يصدر من الله. This صدور and faith. So this is different. So يعني فخر الدين الرازي الأشعري, they believe in الخلق. يعني Allah created the world. You know, so there is no uqul يعني كواسطة between Allah and the world. You know, Ash'aris, they reject this. You know, so but what's the name of the chapter?
في إقامة الدلائل على أن الأفلاك والكواكب أحياء ناطقة.
صح. This is a good evidence for us. Now we are writing a book on semiotics of nature, you know, and so I also argue that this earth, the stones, they have life. You know, they have life because in the Quran it's mentioned that they speak to Allah Ta'ala, they make tasbih and Allah speaks to them. And like Uhud, yuhibbuna wa nuhibbuhu. So al-awatif, al-mashair, these emotions are attributed to inanimate beings. See what I mean? So these are all signs of life. So this is different than theory of intellects. So anyway, so he says, we know that it only exists. We cannot know the details. But philosophers, they say, al-burhan, like logical arguments, tell us about the details. Actually, so he says, no. بيقيني فليس شيء من ذلك بيقيني لاختلال شرط البرهان النظري فيه, because they use corrupt logical arguments. You know, actually, this is the كما هو مقرر في كلامهم في المنطق. So they have like rules of logic, but when they apply it to metaphysical worlds, they don't use proper logic. So he says they contradict with themselves when they try to prove existence of al-uqul. You know, so you don't accept uqul, right? Don't tell me you accept uqul.
No, probably there is بالوجدة.
لا. So
because also
يعني uqul, you know, this is يعني not really grounded, you know.
Yeah, even Razi does not accept that. But what he's saying is that يعني he implies that I understand the philosopher's stance, that they are providing burhan nadari, whether we accept it or not, but they are providing burhan nadari.
No, Ibn Khaldun does not agree. You know, does not agree. So even if like Fakhruddin Razi says this, even Farabi, Ibn Sina say this, they are wrong. You know, they are not ma'soom. They are not ma'soom. Yani no scholar is ma'soom. Yani right. So لأن من شرطه أن تكون قضاياه أولية ذاتية, وهذه الذوات الروحانية مجهولة الذاتيات, فلا سبيل للبرهان فيها. So there is no way for you to use logic to understand the metaphysical world. Actually, this is also the critique of Imam Ghazali. So he says those philosophers, they can use logic, they can use empirical research to understand the physical world. But when it comes to metaphysical world, it's beyond sense perception, so they cannot use empirical knowledge. It's beyond logical analysis, so they cannot use logic. So it's beyond reason and sense perception. That's why they have to rely on revelation. Okay, so Ibn Khaldun also say the same thing. فلا يبقى لنا مدرك في تفاصيل هذه العوالم إلا ما نقتبس من الشرعيات. وحي. So no other source except وحي التي يوضحها الإيمان ويحكمها. وأقعد هذه العوالم من مدركنا عالم البشر. You have a class here? My friends, you have a class here? No. Just to sit. Okay, you are most welcome, no problem. But double charge because you are late. Okay. But the most complicated of these worlds to know is human world. Why? لأنه وجداني مشهود. So it's how should I say? وجداني and مشهود. وجداني and مشهود. وجداني مشهود. So there is inner aspects which is not observable. Human beings have intentions and like a ruh, etc. But at the same time مشهود. وجداني مشهود. Very interesting definition. So عالم البشر وجداني مشهود في مداركنا الجسمانية والروحانية. So there is جسماني and also روحاني aspect. ويشترك في عالم الحس مع الحيوانات وفي عالم العقل والأرواح مع الملائكة. So we share something with animals, but also we share something with angels, like our intellect and our soul with the angels. الذين ذواتهم من جنس ذواته وهي ذوات مجردة على الجسمانية والمادة. So الأرواح and أكول, they are abstract. They don't have جسم and مادة. وعقل صرف يتحد فيه العقل والعاقل والمعقول. So العقل صرف يعني pure reason unites in it reasoner and reasoned. Yeah. So the thinking, the thought, the subject to thought, and the thinker, they are the same in pure reason. So the reason is self-reflexive. Reason, العقل يتحد فيه العقل. So and العاقل and المعقول. So our reason thinks about itself, right? So this way, معقول and عاقل becomes the same. Yeah, this is what's called self-reflexiveness. Self-reflexiveness. Like you are thinking about yourself. So our reason thinks about itself. So al-fa'il, al-maf'ul, the same. وكأنه ذات حقيقتها الإدراك والعقل. So like العقل is its essence is الإدراك. فعلومهم حاصلة دائما يعني علوم الملائكة حاصلة دائما مطابقة بالطبع لمعلوماتهم لا يقع فيها خلل البتة. So the knowledge of the angels it's always exactly corresponding to reality, because in their knowledge, no defects, no khalal. But human knowledge, there is khalal, defects. But in the knowledge of angels, no defects. وعلم البشر هو حصول ثورة المعلوم في ذواتهم بعد أن لا تكون حاصلة فهو كله مكتسب. So like a human knowledge is acquired after its absence. So there is no knowledge, then we acquire knowledge. So this is gained, مكتسب, acquired. Just like the money you are gaining, you gain knowledge also, because this is a gained knowledge, it's an acquired knowledge after its absence. That's why there is always a defect, or possibility of defect in that knowledge during the process of acquiring knowledge. والذات التي تحصل فيها صور المعلومات. So so there is the person in whom the concepts or images of the known subjects is accumulated or appear, وهي النفس. It is human soul. It's human soul and nafs. So all the, like, what's knowledge? Knowledge, العلم حصول صورة المعلوم في ذوات. يعني the image of the known is acquired. Like when I say I know the phone, I know the phone, I know your car, I know your brother. That means their image is in my soul. Their image is in my mind. Okay? So that's knowledge. That image, does it correspond exactly to reality? Let's say I know that you have a Mercedes, but maybe you don't have a Mercedes, you have a Lexus. I know that, like, your brother is a good man, but maybe he's a bad man. See what I mean? So this surah that I have in my mind may not 100% correspond. Like, I know that your brother is taller than you. Maybe it's not true, maybe same, right? But in angels, there is no mistake. وهي النفس مادة. So النفس مادة هيولانية تلبس صور الوجود بصور المعلومات الحاصلة. So the human nafs dresses صور الوجود صور المعلومات. So let's say this water, my nafs dresses it with an image and takes this image, puts it in the store. See what I mean? So this glass doesn't have image by itself. Who's giving the image to it? I am giving the image. Okay, so like it's like I am taking the photo or the video of it, so it doesn't have its photo, it doesn't have its image, it doesn't have its concept. I am the one who is constructing or building this image out of it. So this is very interesting. Says يعني النفس مادة هيولانية تلبس dresses up صور الوجود, the existing forms, صور معلومات, the knowable or intelligible forms or images. الحاصلة فيها شيئا حتى تستكمل وتصح. يعني so I am like every thing I see, my nafs dresses them up with the images and collects all these images one after another until it gets completed. ويصح وجودها, the their existence becomes like authentic and genuine بالموت. So بالموت في مادتها وصورتها. So that's very interesting. With death, our nafs gains its perfection. It's very interesting. يعني and also our knowledge gains certainty with death. فاعبد ربك حتى يأتيك اليقين. So it's very interesting understanding of death. You know, death brings our existence to perfection. Ajib, right? I was shocked when I read this. Actually, this is the view of our ulama. They say our existence gains its perfection when we die. La hawla wa la quwwata
Because of the
illa billah.
disengagement with the body.
Yeah.
It was a pure soul.
Yeah.
There will be ittihad al-aql al-ma'qul.
Yeah. This is very interesting. So like as if like our existence in this world is a process of evolution, is a process of reaching to perfection. When we die, we reach this perfection.
بس that's not one يعني سورة البقرة لما الله سبحانه وتعالى خلق آدم عليه السلام قال علم الله وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها. So we already know this, but there is a hijab between what we already know.
Yes, he is talking about this. In this class, mashallah, very smart people. What made you smart today? What did you eat at lunch? So he ate chicken sandwich. He was the smartest student last time. How about you? You ate potatoes? هيولانية يعني invisible. Invisible يعني invisible being يعني. Yes. Okay. So this is a very deep subject, you know, and it's good that we have Dr. Human here. He can explain more in your psychology class. But maybe this beyond the existing psychology knowledge, you know. So with death, you know, like a human existence reaches perfection in its material existence and also in its like the images of knowledge as well. فالمطلوبات فيها مترددة بين النفي والإثبات دائما بطلب أحدهما بالوسط الرابط بين الطرفين. So in human mind, knowledge swings between confirmation and negation. You know, through the middle term. Through the middle term, you know, this in logic. What's the structure of a proposition? So there is a premise, there is middle term, and there is conclusion, right? So sometimes we accept something, sometimes we reject. Sometimes we think it's good, sometimes we think it's not good. So our knowledge always swings between negation and confirmation. Actually, there are two types of knowledge. Knowledge based on confirmation, knowledge about based on negation. La or illa. La or illa. Negation and confirmation. Naf wa ithbat. Nafi ithbat. No other type of knowledge. Is there any other type of knowledge? So you sometimes say is, sometimes is not. So there is no third category. You know, naf or ithbat. And our knowledge swings between the two types of knowledge. فإذا حصل وصار معلوما افتقر إلى بيان المطابقة. So, but when in your mind is isbat or nefi, then you need a proof that it corresponds to the outside reality. You know, so let's say in my mind, you know, it's confirmed that you are the smartest student in this class this week. But this in my mind, it requires a proof for mutabaka, yani correspondence. Is it really true in waqi' or not? See what I mean? So what we have in mind needs to be proven in reality, in the empirical world. وربما أوضحها البرهان الصناعي. But sometimes we don't have empirical knowledge. We use technical logic to prove it. Okay? ولكن من وراء حجاب. But when I use logical argument to prove something, there is a curtain between external reality and the knowledge I gain through technical logical argumentation. So it's not the same as seeing. Like I see that there is water. So this is iyan. This is by seeing it. Let's say, like people outside, logically, they may conclude, oh, Dr. Rajab is lecturing and the facilities provide water. So, but this is not 100% certain. So my knowledge and your knowledge that you see this water is not the same with their knowledge, which is based on logical conclusion, logical argumentation. So there is hijab. Okay? So al-burhan as-sana'i means a technical, logical argumentation. And then there's burhan al-tabi'i, this like natural argumentation or natural demonstration. People who have never studied logic, they also have logic, right? Like your wife, did she study logic?
No, I don't think so.
Is she logical?
No. Not to answer.
She's logical, right?
She is, yeah.
She's a very logical lady. She's a very good lady. Don't say something different, So, but her logic is natural logic. And you studied logic, right?
Yes.
Your logic is based on burhan al-sina'i, artificial arguments, sina'i. You are making up by following rules of logic. But people who have never studied logic, they are also logical, but their logic, burhan al-tabi'i. Like your father, your mother, your friends, they have never studied logic. But you studied logic, so you have burhan al-sina'i. They have burhan al-tabi'i.
Emotional logic they have.
لكن من وراء حجاب. But this technical logical argumentation, which is called deduction, prove something, but there is a curtain. وليس كالمعاينة التي في علوم الملائكة. So that knowledge, which is acquired through logical deduction, is not the same as the knowledge of the angels, because their knowledge is based on witnessing, observing. وقد ينكشف ذلك الحجاب, but sometimes this hijab is removed. فيصير إلى المطابقة بالعيان الإدراكي. So then this correspondence with the reality is gained through العيان الإدراكي. What's العيان الإدراكي? Our psychologist, what's العيان الإدراكي?
Is he referring to the third eye here?
He's going to stop coming to class, He says, I'm a professor and doctor is asking me a question in front of the students. What's al-iyan al-idraki?
The awareness that is based on the direct connection with the subject. Because he is referring
Yes,
to the
direct connection with the subject, So you can say inner vision or cognitive vision, basira. Cognitive vision, so there is, al-iyan al-aini or al-iyan al-hissi. This is like vision by seeing something with the physical eye, and then vision by seeing it through al-idrak, the capacity or the faculty of idrak. So you can call it basira. So there's basar and basira, okay? فقد تبين أن البشر جاهل بالطبع. It is known that human beings, they have no knowledge, in their nature when they are born. There is ayah
بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا.
ها الله أخرجكم من بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا وجعل لكم السمع والبصر والأفئدة لتردد الذي في علمه and also even like after birth, you know, when you are grown up, when you try to know things, your knowledge swings, you know, between confirmation and negation. So there is not like 100% certainty. There is not yaqeen. وعالم بالكسب والصناعة. So human beings, they become knowledgeable by acquiring knowledge, and also by صناعة. صناعة means using logic, using like a technical logic, you know, technical argumentation. لتحصيله المطلوب بفكره بالشروط الصناعية, because they want to acquire المطلوب. المطلوب means the subject matter, the subject matter that they want to know by following the conditions of technical logic. وكشف الحجاب الذي أشرنا إليه إنما هو بالرياضة بالأذكار التي أفضلها صلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. And this, the كشف الحجاب, like removal of the curtain from العيان الإدراكي, from the basira, you know, so this happens through abstention, you know, الرياضة, through making zikr of Allah. And the best zikr and best riyada is salat. But not every salat. Salatun, true salat, genuine salat. Tanha an al-fahsha wal-munkar, you know, which removes you away from al-fahsha wal-munkar, because when you abstain from al-fahsha wal-munkar, your basira gets opened. You know, your heart gets cleaned, tazkiyah, and then kashf takes place. Then bil-iyan, you know, you can see the things which others try to discover through logical deduction. وبالتنزه عن المتناولات المهمة, and also staying away from forbidden things. ورأسها الصوم وبالوجهة إلى الله بجميع قواه. And the most important one to stay like for abstention is fasting, and also orientation to Allah with all senses, you know, with all faculties. I mean, intellectual faculties, spiritual faculties, you know, turning towards Allah. وتبتل إليه تبتيلا. يعني تبتل means, this is what تبتل is. يعني التوجه إلى الله بجميع القوى. التبتل يعني التوجه إلى الله بجميع القوى الإدراكية والروحانية والعقلانية. So that's the meaning of التبتل. يعني turning completely to Allah and leaving everything behind. So if one does this, and also fasting, sawm, you know, with and then salat, zikr, riyadat. So this is what, you know, opens up al-kashf and the removal of hijab al-idraki. So it activates al-basira. Wallahu a'lama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. So Allah teaches human beings what they don't know. All right, so we stop here, inshallah ta'ala. Yes.
فإذا حصل وصار معلوما افتقر إلى بيان المطابقة. Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so in your mind, something becomes clear. Let's say, I think his brother is taller than him. But this needs to be empirically tested.
I didn't see his brother.
Yeah, So I want them to stand together to see which one is taller. Then, okay, my knowledge مطابق بالواقع.
If he comes, then it become العيان الإدراك.
أيوة. Then come معاينة. But for angels, if they know something,
That's it.
that's it. They don't need empirical evidence whether it corresponds to reality or not. See what I mean? So, like, even when you know something, there's a curtain. This curtain is removed through mu'ayana, through mushahada, through observation. You know, but sometimes you don't need this kind of, like, you don't need like his brother coming together and seeing. You know, if this curtain is removed from your basira, your knowledge is similar to the knowledge of the angels. You know, so you don't need mutabaqa to check whether it's mutabaq to waqi or not. See what I mean? So, yes.
How do you know Vijdan is Sahih? We started with Vijdan is Sahih. How can we differentiate Vijdan Sahih from Khalas? I mean, this was all based on Vijdan Sahih. But
Yeah, if what you get through Vijdan is mutabaq to external reality, this is a confirmation that it's Vijdan Sahih. This is a confirmation that it's authentic, genuine basira. You know, so let's say you like I thought, okay, his brother is taller than him, and then when I see them, okay, this is true. So that's Vijdan Sahih. Yani, this confirmation through empirical evidence. But if this happens 1,000 times, then this is Vijdan Sahih in all cases.
with reference to supramaterial realities?
Yes, yeah. So, like this is maratib al-ilm. This is maratib al-ilm and also maratib al-wujud. You know, so this shows how sophisticated Islamic epistemology and Islamic methodology. It's not reductionist empiricism. It's not reductionist rationalism. It's not reductionist mysticism. You know, it's combination of, and there is check and balance between different types of knowledge. Okay, we don't rely only on one source of knowledge. We don't rely only on one type of knowledge. So this epistemology brings together al-hissiyat, al-aqliyat, al-shar'iyat, and al-kashfiyat. See what I mean?
Ibn Khaldun actually answers this. He says, بما نجد فيه من آثاره التي تلقى في أفئدتنا. So that's the evidence of the wisdom.
Yes. Okay. جزاكم الله خيرا.